Hello and welcome to today's race recap. The Suzuka circuit, and it's 6 p.m. and pitch black. I'm all the way down in P13 with a bit of a terrible qualifying of a 203.459, while P1 sub 2 minutes with a 159.737 set by the number 4 car. And with that, around the last corner we come, and away we go. As everybody comes through cleanly so far, we jump on board here with Jonah just to have a look at the cars ahead of us. And keep an eye on Michael there as he slides it up the inside of Alejandro. Keeping it really nice and clean from both drivers. And yeah, number 7 Alejandro here does not have the greatest start to his lap. As even now Jonah is able to slide up the inside through the S's. As they come through here, look at this, they keep it really clean, really close. I do think they have maybe a tiny contact there, but everything works out really well. Let's go to an instant replay and have a look at Jacob as he comes through and unfortunately loses the rear and goes off the barriers. Thankfully though, he keeps his foot on the brakes and even backs a little bit here to make some room for everybody else coming through. Let's jump and have a look as the pack comes through heading towards the hairpin. Everybody keeps it really clean, and Christopher there has a little look up ahead at Max. Let's see what he can do here, coming down the back. Attempting to go by Max, but unfortunately just can't seem to get beside him there. Max gets a good run through these corners and gets on the gas nice and early. Christopher is not able to make a move there. Look at all that grass getting flung up with everybody going wide, getting a good entry into 130R. With that, let's jump on board with Jonah. Fortunately, just loses it mid-corner there and almost gets collected by number 7, Luke. Now looking back, number 16, he's getting pushed wide by number 10, Joe, and he does not appreciate that at all and gives him a few flashes to let him know as much. Jumping up ahead to Max, he gets a great run through 130R. It's a little bit, Richard goes defensive a little bit late there, but thankfully nothing, no accident happened there or anything. But Max gets a great run out of the hairpin. Once again, Richard goes to defend rather late, squeezes him hard against the wall, but Max is able to squeeze himself in there. And as they come down to turn 1, he's just on the brakes a little bit earlier than Richard, and Richard is able to keep that position for now. Let's jump ahead to lap 3. Let's see what Joe can do here against Flavio. It's a decent run here through Spoon, and starts to catch Flavio, and then in fact, Flavio seems to lift off the accelerator a little bit and lets Joe pass. And here we are with Max just losing it through 130R, head first, nose first into the barrier, right as we come through here. Going through that hairpin, it's going a little bit deep, lost touch with Christopher ahead, and unfortunately that put Joe right on me. And for whatever reason at the time, I decided to not go defensive. I think it was that I kind of saw Joe having decent pace to get through that pack, and I didn't want to lose too much time myself. As he makes the Easy pass on me there. I kind of lifted off a little bit. Didn't fight that too hard there, to be honest. Let's move ahead to lap 4 as Joe is still behind Christopher and trying to get by him here, heading into Spoon. Spoon is definitely a tricky corner. Yeah, I personally have difficulties with this sometimes. And in fact here, Joe gets a much better run through than Christopher and has great momentum up the back straight. And as they approach 130R, Christopher up the inside and in fact has a fantastic line through 130R, even being on the inside. Now look at all this gravel getting run up into our windshield. Christopher is just unable to fight back here against Joe. And with that, we move ahead to lap 5 and take a look at Lucas, with him right behind me, just about a quarter of a second. Christopher makes a mistake, goes wide. I'm able to sneak in through the inside. Thankfully for him, Lucas is not also able to take advantage. And then Christopher there just almost smokes me and goes deep through the second Degna. That opens up the door for Lucas. They do have a slight touch, but nothing too bad. I go deep into the hairpin, but thankfully I'm able to keep some momentum. But unfortunately that does put Christopher right on my tail. But he is unable to move there, and we jump up ahead to lap 6 with Lucas once again. I'm not sure what he thought there. Did he think that Christopher should have not come back on track? I'm not sure why he was flashing there, but as we come through the S's. Now, Lucas also has Flavio to contend with. It sounds like there Lucas actually lifted off a little bit, decided to just coming behind. And that's when I decided to go deep to Degna 2 and let myself fall back behind these guys. Christopher goes for the move, comes in under braking and almost hits me there. That was so close. And then these guys here, yeah, don't seem to appreciate, I don't know what's happening ahead of them, and decide to give Christopher a couple of flashes. And with that, we have a look at Richard coming down the back straight with with Alejandro all over him. Alejandro goes for a late move up the inside onto 130R, and I don't know if I don't know if Richard just didn't realize he was there, but anyway, right as he's against the wall and pulling out, that's when I'm coming through, and I wasn't quite sure what he was about to do, so I definitely had to get a tighter line through there, but thankfully it didn't compromise me too much. Jump ahead and have a look at Joe, Degna 2, and unfortunately just loses it there. And right as he's about to pull out, he notices cars coming on the right and is very respectful and lets us through here before pulling out. With that, he gets going again, coming through the hairpin, but I think due to some frustration there, gets on the accelerator too early, loses the rear, and unfortunately loses another position. Yeah, not the greatest lap there for Joe, unfortunately. As we jump ahead now to lap 8, let's have a look at Christopher. And he's a little bit deeper Spoon. Christopher gets a much better run. I get a little bit squirrely on the exit there too, which just puts Christopher right on my tail once again. Decide to stick a little bit defensive here just so he doesn't get the toe. Dip out to the right for the corner. And thankfully, I seem to be able to have a better line through 130R than Christopher. And in fact, that puts Lucas right on Christopher's tail. As he now decides to not go defensive like I did earlier against number 10 car. This time now, we've got number 16, Lucas, diving down the inside, and these guys keep it clean. Okay, let's jump ahead to lap 9 as I go deep into the hairpin. That just puts Lucas right on my tail, and then I go loose there too, and Lucas, thankfully, good reactions there from him, goes around me. Thankfully, we don't have an accident. Unfortunately for me, back down to P10. Let's have a look at that on replay, actually. As I go deep here, chicane. Ooh, look at that. Okay, let's look at it one more time here from Lucas's vehicle. And in fact, here, let's slow it down a little bit and look at how close this is. And unfortunately, I'm not able to keep up. So let's jump ahead to lap 10 as once again I go a little bit deep there in the second Degna. Definitely not my favorite corner, as we have a replay of what happened earlier, and similar, definitely not as close as last time, but similar incident where Christopher does go a little bit deep once again. And thankfully I am able to hold on to P10. Christopher and I have definitely been together for most of this race here, back and forth. It's been a good race with him, actually. Coming up through Spoon, once again, I had a bit of a tough time there, get a little bit loose and squirrely. Christopher, thankfully, doesn't have the greatest run through Spoon either, and I am able to pull out a little bit here on the back stretch. Approaching 130R, as he goes pretty wide there, but is able to keep good momentum. It gets really tight up on me here coming through the chicane at the end of lap 10. As we approach our final lap, I decide to go defensive this time. And thankfully for me though, Christopher is not close enough to really make a move there. But the three of us are still together. But let's jump ahead a little bit into the lap as we have a look from Flavio's perspective. As I go a touch deep once again into the second Degna, opening up the door for Christopher. And we're back to our favorite corner. And unfortunately for me, this time I'm the one that goes too deep and allows both of those guys to slide up the inside fairly easily, actually. I was definitely frustrated with myself at that point in time in the race. Last lap, and of course, bottled it into the hairpin. But thankfully for me, it's not over until it's over, and Christopher, now feeling the pressure, makes a mistake in the second phase of Spoon and goes sideways and lets Flavio and myself go through. Flavio must just be loving it up there, thinking how awesome it is that the two cars in front of him just spin and let him through quite easily. Coming through 130R for the final time, I'm pushing hard, go a little bit deep into the final chicane, trying to just get as close to Flavio as I can. And with that, I'm actually on the accelerator too early, go wide, and that just means I have to settle for P9 here. And in fact, I'm off the accelerator a little bit too early before we even cross the finish line, and I almost lose my position to Jonah behind. As we finish the race, I'd like to thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please do leave a like, leave a comment letting me know which camera angles you did or did not enjoy. And if you'd like to see more of these kind of videos, please do consider subscribing. I thank you once again for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day, and we'll see you on the next one.